When I arrived at Cambridge, Massachusetts in the fall of 2009, I was very excited to learn about this new city that would be my home for the next 4 years. I was a college student studying mathematics and training to become a researcher, but I was also really interested in policy and issues related to socioeconomic inequality. And so in addition to my studies, I also spent a lot of time attending Cambridge City Council meetings and Cambridge Public School Committee meetings. At these meetings, I had a chance to interact with the city's residents and city council members and learn about the various issues that were impacting the city. And as I learned more, one problem stood out to me. As it turns out, Cambridge Public Schools, despite being located in a city that was home to Harvard and MIT, were struggling in many ways. They faced many issues, including a wide race and socioeconomic-based achievement gap. Black, Hispanic, and low-income students were underperforming their peers. And a huge part of the reason for this was the differences in the quality of education offered at the 11 K-8 schools and the algorithms that were being used to assign students to public schools. These algorithms, despite being mostly neutral, preferred proximity to school in the assignment process. And since Cambridge is rather socioeconomically segregated and racially segregated, a lot of students of color and low-income students were being assigned to public schools that were underperforming. And now I myself was no stranger to stark inequalities in education. And in fact, I had moved halfway across the world for precisely this reason. I was born and raised in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, a place with a rich history and a beautiful culture, but also a place where a lot of students, including myself, had very limited access to opportunities and resources. I moved to the United States to become, due to my interest in mathematics and to become a researcher, both of which would have been very difficult for me to pursue in Ethiopia. But what I hadn't expected was to move to one of the most educated cities in the world and find Black and low-income students such as myself performing 2, 3, 4 years below their grade levels. And wide achievement gaps are not just an issue in Cambridge. A lot of cities across the nation, including Boston, New York City, New Orleans, San Francisco, DC, and many others, struggle to serve their students of color and low-income students. And given my interest in mathematics, what's especially interesting to me is the role that algorithms are playing in this process. This problem highlights, I believe, a disconnect that exists between individuals who introduce and deploy algorithms and those that regulate policies for when and how these algorithms are used. And this disconnect, I believe, presents a risk of exacerbating underlying inequalities in education. But just as there's risk, there's also potential for many missed opportunities. And this is not just an issue in education, it's also an issue in many other domains. Algorithmic decision-making tools now impact various aspects of our lives. They impact what advertisements we might see online, whether or not we're approved for loans, what our health insurance premiums are, and even large issues like what interactions we might have with the criminal justice system. All of these are showing a risk of using AI. But just as there's risk, there's also potential for many missed opportunities to use AI for the good of many. Within education, for example, algorithms that are attuned to racial and socioeconomic inequality can be used to expand access to education for all of our students in the public school systems. And so right now, we're at a moment where we can make a choice. We have the choice of bringing a diverse group of stakeholders together to make sure that AI can work for all of society. 9 years since arriving at Cambridge, I'm now part of a vibrant and growing group of researchers in the field of AI tackling both sides of this problem. Central to my research is the idea that algorithms and AI, in conjunction with the social sciences, can be used to promote equality and justice within society. I work on algorithms and AI, and central to my research is this idea that you can combine these fields. But now you might ask, how do we get there? How can we use algorithms in order to understand, mitigate, and possibly even reverse inequality? Well, part of the gap between what can be done and what has been done can be attributed to insufficient collaborations across disciplines. Over the years, we've gained a deeper understanding that these problems that we're trying to solve, whether it's assigning students to public schools or what advertisements that we might see online, are not purely technical problems. They interact with a very complex and messy world filled with many structural inequalities and challenges. And so if we're going to have a real shot at reducing inequality, we need to be able to bring a diverse group of stakeholders together to work as a team and tackle these problems. To create one such environment, I co-founded and co-organized the Mechanism Design for Social Good group along with Kira Goldner and Irene Lowe. Mechanism Design for Social Good is an interdisciplinary, multi-institutional research group that uses techniques from algorithms, mechanism design, and AI in order to improve access to opportunity, and especially for individuals for whom opportunities have been traditionally limited. We think about various problems, including how to allocate low-income housing, how to expand access to quality healthcare, and how to help farmers in resource-constrained regions to be more productive. An exemplary project through this group is one that focuses on the role of financial shocks in economic welfare. There's extensive research in the social sciences that shows that financial shocks can trigger and perpetuate cycles of poverty. An unexpected health bill or a parking ticket might go unnoticed by some families, but for other families, it can start a downward spiral leading to crippling debt. Similarly, a delayed paycheck may be a mere inconvenience for some of us, but for others, it can lead to missed rent payment and eventual eviction for families. But despite extensive work showing that it's not just about income and it's not just about income and wealth, but also about financial shocks, a lot of subsidies are based purely on income and wealth. And so to bridge this gap, along with John Kleinberg and Matt Weinberg, who are two researchers in the Mechanism Design for Social Good group, we set out to understand the role of financial shocks in economic welfare. We analyzed and we modeled these financial shocks and we analyzed them, and we were able to use these insights in order to produce and analyze allocation mechanisms. And we found that the allocations that we introduce can be substantially more effective than ones that only use information about income and wealth. And these allocations can now be used to help families across the nation. And this project is just one example of the kinds of insights that you can gain from interdisciplinary environments. But fostering such an environment is only one part of the solution. A second key ingredient is ensuring that the community of researchers pushing the boundaries of AI is representative of the society that we are serving. People's lived experiences matter. People's backgrounds and day-to-day interactions impact what problems they might be interested in and how they might go about solving them. And AI researchers have enormous impact and technological advances that impact our day-to-day lives. And the lack of inclusion and diversity in this field can have dire consequences. One alarming case of this is the lack of Black and African researchers in the field of AI. Many conferences that are attended by thousands of researchers are only attended by maybe 5 African and Black researchers. And so to help address this, I co-founded the Black in AI group along with some friends and colleagues, including Mustafa Sise and Timnit Gabru. This group was started as a very small Facebook group between friends and friends of friends in the spring of 2017. But since then, it's now grown into a large initiative with over 1,000 members from 30 different countries and 5 continents. And this is something that we're very proud of. Our members work on a wide variety of fields, from machine learning to AI ethics to entrepreneurship to art and many other domains that interact with the field of AI. And last December, we were able to organize the first Black in AI workshop at one of the largest AI conferences in the world. This picture that I'm showing you here is one of my favorite pictures in the entire world. It's a picture of just a subset of the Ethiopian attendees at the workshop. The last time I saw so many Ethiopians was when I was back home in Ethiopia. And over the few days that they were at this workshop, they were able to enjoy many opportunities that were not available to me when I was growing up in Ethiopia. And indeed, this workshop was a turning point for many people. They were able to attend an international conference for the first time, present their work to an international AI audience, start collaborations, and feel a sense of community as AI researchers at this conference. And over the past year, we've also been able to leverage this community to foster more interest in issues that impact Black and African individuals. For instance, many members of our group now work in algorithmic bias, which disproportionately impacts Black individuals. We're also shedding more light that impacts the African continent. For example, within my own work, I've worked with collaborators at Microsoft Research and Stony Brook University to use search data to understand the health information needs of individuals in Africa. The insights that we were able to gain from this study are now being used by organizations in the continent, and they're shedding more light on the diverse information needs of individuals in this continent. Developing nations have not yet taken up the space that they deserve within the AI community and AI research, and many members in our group, including myself, are working to solve this. I'm excited to be working in this field during a time when so many diverse voices and areas of expertise are taking up space that they were not previously afforded. In order for AI to work for all of society, we must dare to be as inclusive of as many of these different voices as possible. Thank you.